Reduce pain, reduce medication you need for that pain, reduce the money you spend on that medication. Sound like a good deal?
Well, that deal has become increasingly popular at the Birmingham VA hospital. And while the therapy itself is not new, one vet is asking if it could hold special promise for his younger peers.
Okay, Steve. This is my paradise back here.
Ron Jefferson has spent years turning dozens of neglected, unwanted plants into a backyard oasis.
When you bring life, it's a joy, you know, and you actually watch things where it takes away all the misery when you're taking lives.
Jefferson says he came to know about taking lives during 5 consecutive tours of Vietnam. He came to know about misery during the last 10 years through nerve damage that often causes him to wear braces on his legs. He says only painkillers relieved his agony.
18 in the morning, 12 in the afternoon, plus 4 or 5 at night sleep. You know, because I didn't sleep. I was averaging three hours of sleep a night.
Today, this veteran who served in the 60s benefits from a treatment developed in the 60s for cancer patients and adapted more recently for chronic pain.
Here, you can see the cause of the pain.
Dr. Richard Mahan, who came to the Birmingham VA 4 years ago to treat chronic pain without drugs, has been using neurostimulation therapy. In a 2-step process that starts with a trial period, Dr. Mahan implants a neurostimulator in the lower back with leads that attach to the spinal column.
What they do is replace that painful sensation that you have. They replace it with a pleasant tingling sensation. And over time, literally, it rewrites the pathways in the brain so that you tend to forget about the pain that's in that area.
I'd like to have had this done many years ago.
Jerry White, who drove a truck after leaving the Army, had 2 discs removed following an accident that also dented the quality of his quality time with grandkids. After surgery earlier this summer, he uses a remote control to regulate his pain level. And White, a guy who ought to know about gifts, says he's looking forward to a Christmas without medication.
I'm running a Lord tab 3 or 4 times a day, probably, most of the time. Some days I'll take one a day, and then some days I'll go 2 or 3 days and not even take one.
And see, I take Tridazone and Tritoplan. I take these.
Ron Jefferson, who says he took over 30 pills a day, had the procedure in February.
When I dropped down off those pills, my pill level went to 7.5, 8 counting my aspirin.
Birmingham is among 50 VA facilities across the country and a handful in the southeast offering spinal cord stimulation. Dr. Mahan says successful procedures can reduce more than pill counts.
When you look at the studies that are done in the workman's comp literature, which everything is based on, is it effective, but also is it cost effective? By year 3, they break even.
Jefferson says he believes the potential benefit for recent vets could be even greater.
Those drugs were a necessity in order for you to try to eat and function. When we take them off, our suicide rate goes down.
Now, Dr. Mahan says in the general population, people with chronic pain have a 17% higher risk of suicide. Now, while neuromodulation type therapies do reduce medication, he says right now there are no controlled trials that show the therapy actually reduces suicides.